Hey there, guys. We're going to be going back to Superior Being Hadlar for another perfect score. This time, we're not going to be using the meta units like Esther, Kain, Knights of Grand Shelt, all the Dragon Quest units, etc. That being said, it's not really a budget clear. You can't really do a true budget clear and still get a perfect score. You're going to have to either use some of the meta guys like Kain, or you're going to use some older units like we're using, but then you're going to have to use powerful gear to make up the difference. So let's get in here and do a clear, and then I'll show the team, show the gear, etc. Talk about maybe some potential unit swaps. So to start off, we're going to use Tidebringer Kaito in his shifted form to LB. That's going to be for the big Katana in Peril. We're going to base form LB Roberta for the Spear in Peril, the LB buff, etc. And the rest of these guys can just guard. We don't really need them right now. Okay, so Venera is our provoker, and she can be just any 90 breaker you want. She's literally doing nothing except breaking. So we're going to go ahead and just guard those same four guys. Don't need them. They're not really doing anything yet. Let's go to the base form with Kaito, where we're going to Magnus. That's just to refill his LB gauge. It also imbues the party with water, but it's only a 2-turn water imbue, so we can kind of ignore that because it's going to wear off by the kill turn. We're going to Swelling Current and Mana Few Words for the killer buffs for himself and the party. And then Roberta in the base form can just Magnus, Mega Breath, and then doesn't really matter what else, support from the skies, whatever. Okay. Some more single target attacks on our Provoker. We're going to be killing on turn 4 because I tried dealing up that big AoE attack on turn 4 and it wasn't really working. I was failing the damage taken score. Anyway, we're going to be killing next turn. So we're going to start setting up with things like Tyvis' Spirit on our SLB units. We're going to shift Kaito, and he's going to do Reagan's STMR for the modifier boost. We can't use his own LB modifier boost because it water imbues, so we got to use an external one the next turn. We can go ahead and 90% defense break with Venera. We can shift Roberta, and we're going to do her Magnus. We can do Dragoon's Aim, and let's do Dragon Killer for a bigger attack and magic buff for herself. And then Riku will imbue the party with Thunder using In Thundara, and then just imperil the boss with Lightning Rod. That's pretty much the main reason Riku was here, is just for imbuing the party. We needed someone to give that Thunder imbue. But we're doing the big Amplify with Roberta instead. Okay, so let's go to the base form with Kaito and do his base form LB, which is triple bolting. SLB Riku, also triple bolting. We're going to Blue Wave Venera, also triple bolting. We're going to SLB the 2 NVA units. And to the base form with Roberta, where we're going to quad Mystic. Now we're going to send Roberta in first to build that chain, then we're going to send the rest of the guys. That being said, this clear, because we're not using all the big meta DPS, is going to be a little bit tricky to damage cap, so we might have to rely on a little bit of variance re-rolling. So let's go ahead and send our Roberta, then send the rest of the guys. Get that nice chain cap. We're looking for a 146 count chain, and we're looking for a 10.73 or better. Now this does certainly require a little bit of variance. My first clear used like the meta units we overkilled by a ton. Didn't have to care about variance. This clear is using like NVA units. We do need variance. 10.8. Well, we did it. That was a little bit of a average to high roll. This team should approximately, like the midpoint is like 10.7 on the dot. Above average variance roll goes above that, and then bad variance you'd have to run it again. Here's the party. It looks like a pretty basic breakdown of how my test runs usually went. So Kaito, big boy carry here. He's amazing for this fight. He's got a 200% personal only demon killer. He's got just really high stats, really high damage, and he's also got the synergy bonus from it being his vision world. Technically speaking, he is on the bonus unit list. Anyway. Roberta was for the big stat buffs, and she did her chaining in the base form. I tried to go in for a longer clear. That way I could do more setup and do Roberta's jump instead, which is more damage. Unfortunately, that means turn 4 we were taking too much damage and failing the damage taken mission, or the damage taken score. Squall and Titus are just NVA units. They deal good damage. And then Riku, does 900 to a billion. And she is the Thunder, Imbue, and Imperil unit for our party. So, okay, there was a perfect score without using the big top of the metas. Definitely requires a little bit of variance luck. You got to run it a few times to get a high roll. Also, your gear has to be powerful. As far as unit swaps go, so Squall and Titus, as you saw, they literally brought nothing at all except damage. They were just a finisher. So you can replace them with your best DPS you have. Knights of Grandshout, Kain, Esther, Hero Dai, Baran, what's the other guy's name? Hyunkel would probably be okay here, because he does get the, even though he's wrong element, he does get the stat bonus. That kind of stuff. Mage Pop, maybe. I don't know. Probably that you want the Mage variant to be in. Anyway, as far as Venera goes, for a swap, any of the 90% breakers. So Lara Croft, Venera, Crowned Hawkeye, or Crowned Locke or Hawkeye, all of them work. As far as Kaito goes, he is a little bit of a big deal because he is the big demon killer for the party. Now, if you're bringing Esther, Esther does bring a 120 demon killer for the party. It's a little bit lower, but Esther does more damage than Kaito, so it kind of balances out. As far as Roberta goes, the biggest thing Roberta brought was Spear Imperil, as well as a big LB damage buff and stat buff for the party. Roberta is not critical. You could also bring things like Ramu Sakura to do the Thunder stuff. And if you're bringing Ramu Sakura, then you don't need Riku. You can replace her with just a better DPS period. So as far as the gear for the team goes, base form Roberta is magic build versus demons. There we go. So, the gear is decently high for this clear. Let's see. Demon, maxed out on Demon Killer. And then shift form, I'm pretty sure was completely naked because we didn't really use it. And then base form, or only form Titus. Definitely close to best in slot. Yeah, really high end Titus. But we're not using like Knights of Grandshout and all that kind of stuff. Maxed and everything. Maxed LB, maxed Demon Killer. And he's using a katana because we're doing a 30% katana Imperil with Kaito. So that helps out. Squall is using his own Chronicle weapon. We're getting the Greatsword Imperil from the Leave It To Me card, which is being worn by somebody else. So here's his build. Titus Spirit, max LB damage versus demons, and we are using the card. Like I said, this is not a budget run. Maxed LB, maxed demon, and there we go. Venera was our completely replaceable passive provoker with 90% defense break. That's all that matters. So whichever 90% defense breaker you bring, just passive provoke evade them. And then Blue Wave. And she's using the Leave It To Me card for the Greatsword Imperil for Squall. And then Albed Girl Riku, we gave her a double hand spear build because we want that good double hand variance. And spears, obviously, because the Spear Imperil from, what's your girl's name? Roberta. So double hand LB damage versus demons. Roberta's guidance to be able to get that in action, and then using a Tifa's card just for the LB damage, basically. Let's see, she's got max double hand, 390 attack, and we've got 275 demon and 250 LB damage. A little bit low on stats because she's technically a dual wield unit. I'm having to force double hand on her, but she does have the 6x chain cap innately, so that's actually handled. You don't need Magisters or Saviors, STMR, that kind of stuff. And then Kaito, the big carry damage here. 8,000 attack power, using his own katana, LB damage versus demons, his own card. And then shift form is using the presidential livery to boost his LB modifier because he can't boost his own modifier with his Magnus because it water imbues your party, and that would be a big no-no. We don't want water imbue. Anyway, that was our clear. Now, as far as making it even more budget, like, you used a bunch of premium STMRs. True, I did. In order to make it cheaper, I would have to still damage cap. I could use cheaper gear, but I would have to bring stronger units. There's got to be a trade-off. As you saw, even this party with the high-end gear, still kind of cut it really close on that damage cap. So if you want me to not use things like Titus's STMR and all that, I'm going to have to start kicking things like Squall and Titus off the party. and bringing in things like Kain. Now, Kain could use cheaper gear and, make up the damage, because Kain is just naturally a more powerful unit. But I would have to, bring more meta units to the party. Anyway, hopefully that has been helpful. I've now done 2 different Hadlar clears. Now I think I'm going to have to start working on a cheaper way to do the Lan Baruch EX battle. Anyway, see you in a bit.